Alright guys, what's up? Gonna do another video today. This one's gonna be about some of the colors and stuff like that, mainly the tangerine stuff. I'll also touch on the sunglows, because a lot of people were asking me about sunglow and how do you make them, stuff like that. So hopefully we're pointed directly onto the whiteboard here, because I've had a problem with that not happening. So hopefully not to tick myself off, hopefully we're pointed directly where I need to be at, and we're not too high or too low. Might adjust it just a little bit. I mean, that should be pretty close. Alright, the first thing that we're going to do is break down some of what's involved in some of these animals, so that you can more easily understand it. Because a lot of this stuff is just line bred over many generations to create a certain look that the animal has. The main parts are going to be the hypo, the tangerine, and the carrot tail. That's the main parts in a lot of this stuff, plus the recessive albino stuff. Alright, so the first thing you got to understand is what each of these means, basically. The hypo, or hypomelanistic, just means a lack of black pigmentation. A true hypo will have less, wow, markers not doing too well, than, actually, you know what? Where are we putting that? Okay, it's going to be less than 10 spots of black pigmentation on the back. This does not include like black pigmentation on the tail or on the head or anything like that. That's something totally different. So that is a hypo. Then of course we got the super hypo, which super hypo is usually just abbreviated SH, and that just means super hypo. And a super hypo has no spotting on the back at all. The hypo, less than 10, super hypo, no spots on the back. Alright, next, the next thing that we need to look at is tangerine. Most hypos originally were high yellows, if you will. They were a yellow pigmentationed animal, and it was something that they were kind of line breeding for it, but then, you know, after a while of line breeding, they started to get tangerine color coming out, and that's just the orange pigmentation in an animal. So the orange pigmentation is what we call the tang or tangerine. So we're just going to put orange here. That's all it means. Tang equals orange. Alright, so whenever we have a super hypo tangerine, which that's what this means, just super hypo tangerine. That's all that means right there. A super hypo tangerine. It's just the little acronym for it. On the super hypo tangerine, though, I mean, it is, since it's a super, you're not going to have any black spots on it. If it has black spots on it, it might be a hypo tangerine. If it has 10 or less. If it's just a tangerine, it might have a lot of spots. I actually have a couple lines of actual just tangerines that they actually don't have the hypo influence into them at all. Whenever we get down into this naming area here, that's where I'm going to go over like what it really means for each one of these. The next thing that is a major part in a sunglow or a super hypo tangerine carrot tail is the carrot tail. It's CT or carrot tail. There's two different types. One type is used in all these hypoed animals and stuff like that, and then the other type is used in other crosses. The two types that of carroting that you get are the Rayhine style, and the what I call the red stripe style. Alright, these two are totally different as far as how they act and how they're passed. If you cross a Rayhine animal a Rayhine carrot-tailed thing or gecko with a red-striped carrot-tail gecko, that doesn't mean that you're going to get a lot of carroting on the tail at all. These two are totally different things, and they have to be viewed as such. Most super hypo tangerines with the carrot tail are using this Rayhine style right here. So whenever I talk about all the carroting on the tail in this segment, I'm going to be talking about this. The red stripe style is the style of carrot tail that you'll get on, like, say, my G project with the, 80-90% carrot tail. You'll get that on Raptors, Eclipses, Aptors, patternless stripes, stuff like that. That's that type of carrot tail. That type of carrot tail, like I said, again, is different than the Rayhine style. So this is just the tail pigmentation. Wow. Did I really just do that? Tail pig met. Sorry, my handwriting is awful. Okay. So what we're going to do is basically, these are the 3 ingredients to make super hypo tangerine carrot tails, basically. And then that's just all this stands for. You're just going to, on that one, you're just adding the carrot tail. All right, hopefully you guys are seeing all this and I'm not messing all this stuff up. All right, the next one that, the super hypo carrot tails as well, they come in tons of different names. Pretty much every breeder that thinks they have their own line of tangerine will call this something totally different. You've got the tangerine tornadoes, you got Albie's line of stuff, you've got... there's the electric part isn't really part of this because it doesn't have the super hypo in it, and I'll explain all that stuff a little bit lower here. And then there's a couple other people that have like their own line of super hypo tangerines, and that's just all that is right there. And these things over here are also line bred. They're not recessive, they're not dominant, they're just like a line bred trait. Especially the tangerine and the carrot tail. The more you breed for it, the more it comes out. The super part of the super hypo, just because you breed 2 hypos together does not mean you're going to get super hypos. Whenever it was named, there really wasn't like a co-dominant super. So this really doesn't mean that you breed two hypos together, you're going to get super hypos. It's just a line bred thing over many generations to get a animal that does not have the pigmentation on it, basically. All right. Now, once we get down into these, this next step right here, which is the sunglows and the hybinos. These are 2 totally different things. Oh, somebody's trying to get a hold of me. These are 2 totally different things that shouldn't really be confused, but sometimes they do get confused as far as how people name them and stuff like that. Basically, let's do the Hybino first, because that one was actually the first one to be produced. Hybino, which I'll go over here to do this. Hybino is all it is an albino of any 3 strain. So we got the albino form of a hypo or super hypo. So it's got the hypo gene in it, or the line bred trait hypo, and carrot tail. Because originally the original Hybinos were actually albino forms of Rayhine's line of carrot tails, which his line of carrot tails were basically hypo animals that had a lot of orange pigmentation on them, and they were also hypos. So that's where the Hybino really comes from, is the Rayhine line form of a super hypo that is actually crossed into an albino, and then you have to cross it back, of course, to get the albino to pop out, because the albino is recessive. And then these two are line bred. Whoops, hopefully you guys can see that. I just kind of scribble way too much. So it's basically one recessive and basically two line bred traits, the hypo and the carrot tail. Okay? All right, the next one that a lot of people were commenting on, like how do you make a sunglow, what's a sunglow, blah, blah, blah. Okay, a sunglow is actually this, a Hybino, plus the tangerine. Okay? That's the easiest way to think of it. So basically, it's one recessive trait and three line bred traits. So basically, it's an albino form of a super hypo tangerine carrot tail. Okay? So that's what a sunglow technically should be and is. Because you need all of those to make it a true sunglow. I mean, you'll see... and I mean, with these three line bred traits, you could get animals that totally don't look exactly the same. With those three line bred traits, there is a huge scale of what the coloration will look like, what the carroting on the tail will look like, and how much hypo influence it has as well. So sunglows can vary greatly from different lines, and even siblings could look totally different as well. All right, that is basically a sunglow and a Hybino. And of course, they can come in the three different strains. Sometimes they're called different things, like rainwaters are sometimes called fire waters. And then there's, just dropped my cap, sorry about that. And then there's a couple other things that are called different things as well. All right, so again, a Hybino is just an albino form of a super hypo carrot tail, which is basically the Ray Heinlein carrot tails were super hypo carrot tails. That's where it started, and then they added the tangerine to it later, and then they created the name, or coined the name sunglows. Okay? So that's where you get the sunglows and the Hybinos. All right. The next step, probably some of you have heard of tangelos and hyglows. Hyglows and tangelos are different than sunglows and Hybinos. The difference is these two do not have the hypo gene in them. That was the main intent of these two, was to make sunglow looking animals without using the super hypo. So I'm going to see if I can't erase a little bit more here so you guys have some more room. All right. Alberto from A&M Gecko coined the name Hyglow probably about 6, maybe 7 years ago. And basically, a Hyglow is a selectively bred albino tangerine. So it's plus the tang. So basically, a Hyglow, and whenever I say they're selectively bred for the tangerine, whenever you have albinos with the tangerine color, they usually still have the bands, and there's like a white coloration in between the bands. What Alberto did was selectively breed these Hybino, or the albinos and the tangerines together, and made the pigmentation come closer together by selectively breeding. It was one of those things that he didn't use the super hypo, so it was actually harder to bring the color together. Ron Tremper has his own line of those as well now. They're called tangelos. And that is, I believe, how he has made the tangelos as well. Just by not using the super hypo in the animal, and basically it's an albino tangerine. Which they, like I said, the tangerine, a lot of them will have carrot tail as well. Some of them don't have extreme carrot tail, but these ones can also have carrot tail. But to be a true hyglow or tangelo, they do not have hypo. Hypo. Wow, my writing is atrocious today. So that's where those two names come from. The other things that you might see whenever you're dealing with tangerines and stuff like that are basically Sunglows and cream. I think that's how you spell it. And creamsicles. All right, creamsicle is a name that JMG actually coined. That a creamsicle is actually a line-bred super hypo tangerine with the carrot tail, and that was crossed into max nose. So basically, a creamsicle is equal to a super hypo tangerine carrot tail crossed into max no. Okay? I mean, you could technically make a creamsicle out of the other two types of, well, actually, the other two types of dominant snows, the tug snow and the gem snow. But to make it a true creamsicle, you got to use the max snow. Which it can be hard to do, because if you breed two creamsicles together, you're going to get supers too, and then the super takes out all the color. So you almost have to breed just one max snow to super hypo tangerine over many generations to get the color to come out. The max snow, what it'll do is actually pastel the color out of the super hypo tangerine. Usually the first generation of this, it won't look like anything. You have to breed it multiple generations to get the color to really come out. The other thing is a sunglow. The sunglow term, I believe, was actually coined by Jason Haygood, and he basically created basically sunglows that were snows. So a sunglow, which I'll put down here, all it is a sunglow cross to a max snow, but it's over many generations to have the color come out. So it's not just the first generation. It usually takes a couple generations for that to come out as well. But you got to do it over many generations to make the color even better, because of the 3 line bred traits that are in the sunglow. So basically, what you have is just an albino, because the sunglow, we said, is an albino super hypo tangerine carrot tail. So basically, this is an albino super hypo tangerine carrot tail crossed to a max snow, or with the max snow in it, I should say. So that is a sunglow. There's also things out there now that are sunglow raptors, which are basically sunglows with the eye pigment. Mint. Hopefully you guys can see that as well. Alright, hopefully I broke all that stuff down for you enough so you kind of know what some of the names mean, how you get from one thing to the other. Again, basically the hypo is a line-bred trait again, and same thing with the tangerine and the carrot tail. And there's 2 types of carrot tail. There's the Ray Hine line and the what I call the red stripe influenced carrot tails, and that's your tail pigmentation. So a super hypo tangerine carrot tail is actually 3 different line bred traits in one animal, and because of that, like, you can get, like I said, tons of variation depending on how well line bred they are. And then from there, you start to get into these other names like Hybinos, the Sunglows, the Snowglows, the Creamsicles, Snowglow Raptors. Basically, there's many different things going on in a lot of those animals. So it's not just as simple as, breeding this to this will get you this. It's basically line-bred stuff over many generations to get the final result. Hopefully you guys have seen pictures of all this kind of stuff. If not, I would check out the Leopard Gecko Wiki. I'll put a link to it down below here, just so you guys can see. If you have any other questions, feel free to type them in the comment section down below here. That's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys understood all that, and I did it well enough so that you guys could actually see how we come up with all this stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.